Hello there. Before we get started on today's episode, I'd like to ask a short favor. If you're interested in either of the two books that I have written and am about to release, head on over to my website at theanxioustruth.com/books. There you can learn about both books, one of which is free, and you can get on my mailing list to be notified when each book is released and how you can get it. I would really appreciate that. Okay, let's get rolling. Okay, we are back. Episode number 2 in one day. What's up, everybody? Drew here from thatanxietyguy.com. As with me, as always, Billy from Anxiety United in the UK.
Hello.
What's up, Bill? So we're gonna do we're doing 2 in one day here. For those of you who are noticing Billy's Yankee hat, New York Yankee hat, still on. Not a week later, we're doing 2 in a row. We are doing the next in our little Anxiety 101 series. This is based on an article that I wrote many moons ago that I'll link in the video description or wherever you happen to be watching this. Go read along with us. And we're just taking each segment of the article as we go and kind of tearing it apart, spending 15 to 30 minutes, kind of talking about each concept. And today we're going to talk about the idea that there is really no comfortable way to effectively get out of this anxiety and panic situation. There's going to be some discomfort involved. It's a sticking point for many people. Would you agree?
I would. I think you said it best on a video whenever it was, a long time ago, when you said that if you just sit and do nothing, it's not like a normal, like if you have the flu, you can sit, your body will adapt, it'll rid the virus and you will recover. But
right.
With this, if you sit and do nothing, you will get nothing. Yeah.
And many times you'll make things worse.
Mm.
Yes, I have said there is no immune response to anxiety. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. That's really good. So there's no comfortable way. Let's say you do get the flu, you get sick, you get a stomach bug or something. The normal thing that we would do in those situations is we retreat. Maybe you'll call into work and not go in, or you stay from school or whatever it is. You'll retreat into your own, your home. You're going to stay on the sofa, whatever. You're going to rest.
Yeah.
I'm just going to rest. I'm going to lay on the sofa and watch TV or sleep or whatever it is. And you're going to kind of recover because your body automatically, maybe you're taking a little medicine, but whatever, there's an immune response. Your body will get you past that. And then you're back in the game, right? But retreat and rest is absolutely the wrong way to deal with this. The wrong way to deal with this. That's what would seem the comfortable way. And I think that kind of segues us into this. That would seem the comfortable way. So if I'm afraid to be in the shopping mall or in my car, it's a whole lot more comfortable just to say, I just need to rest. I need to be. And I hear words like, let's just start ruffling. You know what? Let's just start ruffling feathers right from the get go in this one.
Go on.
Let's go with it. Bring it. So I'm from New York. You got a Yankee hat on. We're gonna ruffle some feathers. So So I hear this all the time. I hear, be kind to yourself. Now that's not bad. That's not bad advice. We should always treat ourselves with respect, right? Be kind to ourselves. Take it easy. Take it slow, rest.
Yeah.
And the worst one, it's okay. It's okay. Like, it's not effing okay.
Yeah.
And we have to accept that. So I'll throw this at you. You can ruffle some feathers on this too. But when I see those
You're doing a good job here, man.
Hey, come on. You got to get in there with me. I'm not going to be the only one with hate mail. When I see those statements online, it kind of freaks me out a little bit. And I want to yell into the screen sometimes. Like, no, it's not okay. And let's not misinterpret treat yourself kindly or treat yourself well. Like, the misinterpretation of that as it's okay that you can't drive, just hang out at home until you can.
Yeah.
It could not be more incorrect. And I think you'd probably agree that the reason why we fall into that trap is that just hang out at home until you're able to drive is the most comfortable thing to do.
The longer that you leave it between attempting to do something, the more difficult it gets. 100%. If I've spent a week at home, maybe I've got a bit of extra work on. I work from home. So if I don't leave the house for a week, even if it's just to nip to the shop or whatever it is, the next time that I do, there's definitely anxiety. There's definitely more apprehension before I even leave the house.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily harder once I'm out, but it's that building up that courage again. You feel like you've got to just start generating the courage that you had to display that first time that you ever did it. Whereas at the moment, I'm going out of the house every day at the moment, like numerous times to go and see my dad. And I'm not even thinking about leaving the house. It's not even a question. It's just a case of I've now got to go. And I go and do it. I come back. And even if I feel like junk while I'm out, it's not going to stop me from doing it. It's just like I'm in the routine, I guess. It's building positive memories, isn't it?
Right, it is. And so there are times when you are out dealing, with your dad's situation, and now it's becoming easier and easier to get out the door. Obviously, it's a normal thing for you to do now.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Even when you're out, at times you may feel uncomfortable, right? Like you said, you feel like crap when you're out, and the natural. Let me look at what I wrote here. You know what? It's human instinct. We are creatures of comfort and safety, so we always want to go to a place of comfort and safety and a lower energy level, and we're trying to find that tranquility all the time. Some may argue that there are people among us, I might be one of them, that thrive on chaos a little bit, like I do well in that situation. But generally speaking, we're gonna seek quiet and comfort and safety. So it's normal to do that. But in this situation, like Billy just illustrated, the longer you seek the comfortable route, the harder it becomes to actually get on a real route that will lead to some progress. And let's talk about some of the ways that we know people try and find comfortable ways to do it. We were talking a little bit before we went on the air here. And I wrote, don't waste your time or money on books, CDs, DVDs, or websites that claim to have a cure for panic attacks, unless you're willing to face your fear head on as part of the process.
I think the first time that I ever saw cognitive behavior therapy, I went there with the mindset that I'm going to go here for 8 weeks. The therapist is going to teach me, or he's going to do something. He's going to tell me something that's just going to switch it all off. And that was the mindset that I had. And at the end of the 8 weeks, I learned nothing. And I just went home and just continued on the path of anxiety, because I'd just gone in there expecting whatever, somebody else was going to fix this for me. That was the easy way.
Yeah.
But,
and that it would somehow be like, well, the doctor will fix this. The therapist is going to fix it.
Yeah. That otherwise, what's the point of me going to see someone if I've got to do the hard work?
That's a good aside.
That's the reality.
Yeah, and that's expectations.
The third time that I went, I knew a bit more about everything, and I did use some of the stuff, but it still didn't do a lot for me. But I noticed that obviously I've got to do the hard work, and that's the pitfall of many people. I think maybe sometimes you'll go on a path and you'll start making progress, but then it gets a bit hard because obviously your tolerance gets a bit more. You can do more, but there does come a point where it feels like I'm happy now. Yeah. I can walk 300 yards. I can go to the shop, get my tea bags. That'll do. And then people switch off. And I've done that. I'm a victim of that many a time where I've reached that comfortable level and just thought, okay, this will do. We'll stay here. But it doesn't take long to slip back if you don't carry on.
I think that's true for people like us. The comfortable, whenever you're happy being comfortable, we run the risk of sliding backwards to a certain extent, like you said. So yes, you've conquered this, but I can get to the local shop, I can drive my kids to school, whatever it happens to be. I'm good now. And then when you start to rest and stop pushing, as far as you can, I think
you made a point in a few videos back where you said if you include the bit I can do anything if or as long as. Remember when you said that?
Yeah.
So if you're still using that at the end, then you're not any further forward than you were initially, really.
Okay.
The fear is still there.
That's true. I can do anything as long as I have so-and-so in the car with me, or
exactly.
I have my mints or my pills, whatever it is. That's
true. You may as well just not do anything if you ain't going to do everything.
So I think the key concept that we're just going to hammer this again and again and again is like,
me ruffling feathers.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't. I'm not somebody that does everything. So I'm beating myself with the same stick.
But in the end, like, I can do anything so long as, like, I'm fine long as, I hear this all the time, women will say, like, I'm fine as long as I have my boyfriend or my husband with me. Or men, too, as long as I have my wife with me or whoever, The reason why you want that person or whatever the safety device is, mints, water, coloring book, your phone, whatever it happens to be, that's your crutch, it makes you feel comfortable. Like, that's safety. Like, well, my phone will save me. I can call somebody. And you're trying to find a way to get away from being uncomfortable. And in the end, so the same thing with your first experience with cognitive behavior therapy. If you go in and say, okay, here's the deal. This is going to be hard work, and I am going to be freaking uncomfortable a lot while I do this.
Yeah,
you know, the outcome is usually way better, because when I hear people say that therapy doesn't work, that doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. Well, it usually doesn't work because of the expectation of comfort and safety. Like, well, this will be easy, and I won't have to do any hard work. So if you're really serious about moving forward in this, the first things that you're going to have to deal with is the idea that I'm going to be afraid and uncomfortable on purpose. And I'm going to work hard. This is an active process that requires hard work, persistence, and tenacity every single day, and the willingness to intentionally make yourself uncomfortable. And
go on.
No, and you know what? And if you can't fully embrace that right now, I truly think that progress can be made, but it's a tenuous progress. It's one that can disintegrate on you quickly, because you're really not addressing the key thing, which is like, bring the fear, bring the discomfort. There's nothing behind it. It's completely toothless. There's no real basis for any of this fear, and I'm going to put myself right in the middle of it intentionally so that I learn that through experience. And if we're not willing to do that, we're just sort of tilting at windmills in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So
the second time I ever had cognitive behavior therapy, because I've had it 3 times via the NHS, and the second time I think we'd done like 3 sessions in the building, just sitting talking.
Yeah.
And then the next time that I went, I had a new therapist just for 1 session, and she took me out of the building, and it was in like the town. And she wanted me to walk, so we did this walking, and I was freaking out, and it was horrible. And
sure.
But we walked like maybe 100 yards, and then we stopped, and she said, "Right, I want this to become your safe place now." So we were sort of making me the safe place.
Yeah.
And then we'd expand a bit further, and then I didn't go again because I freaked out so much. So that was me. You know, I wasn't willing to be uncomfortable.
Right. You want to avoid it.
Yeah, but the progress that I made on that 1 session, I did feel so much better.
Yeah.
And it made me think like, this is definitely the way. And then when it came around to next week, it was like, I ain't doing that again. And that's where the bravery and the courage comes in. You've got to be willing to take those hits, haven't you?
You do have to be willing to take those hits, but I think you would probably agree that the hit becomes easier to take every single time you do it.
It does. It's just believing in yourself.
Right. Even though the decrease in discomfort might be small each time, but every single time you confront that thing. So pick something that makes you uncomfortable today. If you're watching us right now, pick one thing that makes you really uncomfortable. Yeah. I don't care if it's just opening the front door and standing on the front step of your house. If that's what makes you uncomfortable, then resign yourself today to actually do that, even just for 30 seconds. You know, and it will be easier the second time you do it. Get yourself together any way you can. I don't care. And then do it again an hour later. And then do it again and again and again until your neighbors think you are batshit crazy because you keep going out and standing on the front step. Who cares? But the point is, put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Understand it's going to suck. You're going to be afraid. You're going to be uncomfortable. Expect all of those things to happen. Use your coping skills the best way you can. Ignore your symptoms. Let's tie all the previous episodes together. And as you go, every single time you do that, you will be less uncomfortable. But if you're not willing to start being uncomfortable and afraid, then you got a long road to go.
And that, what I was saying before, I don't know if people are thinking that I was saying, if you can't do anything, or if you can't do everything, don't do anything. I didn't mean that. What I'm saying is, if you're still struggling to do something, then still work at doing whatever it is till you're completely free of it. So yes, the small steps are necessary.
They are necessary.
God.
And you know what?
And do them. But if there comes a point where, as I was saying, if you get to something, I can do this as long as, then we need to work on that as well. So let's keep going. Don't get to a point. That's what I'm saying. Don't get to your shop and think that you've won.
Yes.
Keep going. Keep going.
And I would say that's true. You know, when you get to the shop and you haven't been able to get there for a year, you've won in that moment. And yes, give a fist pump and be proud of yourself and celebrate. But then
100%.
Understand that it only matters if you go home and then come back again 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Or, go to the next shop from there. So no one victory in this war, no one battle that you wins the war. They all add up.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
Right. So when you get to the point where you feel that you are now comfortable, that's usually a hint that says there's something else I haven't tackled yet. And I will even say for me, and I am now years down the road from being in the worst place that I've ever been. And to the point where now, I'm flying all over the place and I'm traveling on business. And I feel like I have gotten to the point where, yeah, sure, I can do anything. Then there's no as long as.
Yeah.
But even so, it's super easy. And I will tell you this. I did experience some very high anxiety 2 days ago. I had it was some of the roughest panic that I have encountered in probably 15 years. And even for somebody like me who has come all the way down this road and is like bold enough to think I have something to offer by making videos like this, even in my situation, yesterday was a struggle. Yesterday was uncomfortable because the old habits and the old responses are still there. So yesterday, even for me, I not that I'm anything special, but people say all the time, well, you must be cured. But even for me, you all think that I'm cured and I'm like better. I intentionally had to be very uncomfortable most of yesterday to make sure that event did not represent a slide backwards for me.
Yeah.
So sadly, for people like us, it may almost never be over. But I will tell you this, I don't even think about it anymore. Yesterday was tough. I'm all good today. So
there was no comfortable way.
There was no comfortable way. Like, I really just wanted to not leave my house yesterday. I really wanted to do that. But I made myself be very uncomfortable all day long yesterday. And by the end of the day, it was good again. So, what am I saying here? So in the end,
I don't know. I can't say the word necessary for some reason.
We're all good. I can't say numbness. We were talking about that. So in the end, when you accept that there's no comfortable way and you are willing to go down that road, what you are learning to do is not be afraid of your anxiety, your panic, your symptoms, your own body and mind anymore. And when you get to that point, and this is the biggest thing you have to do, that courage and accepting that you're going to be uncomfortable, when you are no longer afraid of having a panic attack, you win. The war is over. You'll still have to mop up now and then, but that's where we're getting at. All of the blabbling that we're doing on YouTube and in my podcast and what you're doing, it all gets to that point. When you get to the point where right now you are not afraid of having the worst possible panic attack you can think of, who cares? It's like stubbing your toe. You win the war. And so let's start here with accepting that we're going to be uncomfortable on the way to get there. But the reward is freaking enormous.
It's crazy because you don't really think of it like that when you're in the midst of it. Like you're worried about the symptoms, you're worried about going to the supermarket, you're worried about parents' evenings at school and stuff like that. But when it all boils down to it, that is exactly what it is. You're scared of having that panic attack. And that's the whole thing. That's what it all is about.
The disorder is the modification of your lifestyle because you're afraid of how you might feel. Or what you might think. And when you aren't afraid of how you're going to feel anymore,
the annoying thing is it's not even how you will; it's how you might. And that's
exactly right. So you have to get to the point where you say, well, you know what? I'm going to my daughter's dance recital today, and I may have like a massive panic attack while I'm sitting there, but I don't care. It isn't going to matter to me. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. I love this, right? I love feeling like this. Yes. So in a way, and the first time that you fully embrace that and you do that, and you feel like a freaking superhero. So I know I feel like I'm all riled up on this topic, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
I've been there.
And a pox.
I've been through it.
And we were talking about this before we went live. A pox on anybody who's out there trying to take money from people to cure their panic in an easy way. And because it doesn't exist. In the end,
you can't read a book and be okay.
No. You can read a book and get a lot of good advice.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've picked up things that I use.
Yeah,
definitely.
But nobody's going to fix it but you in the end. So if you're looking for help and you're going to spend your money on a website or a program or whatever, I actually wrote CDs and DVDs. How old is this article? But if you're gonna spend money on books, audiobooks, or programs or whatever, if they aren't giving you work to do, and it doesn't involve facing your fear. If that program doesn't make you a little uncomfortable just reading about it, then it's not a good program. It's not a good program. And
save your money and spend it on days out when you're feeling better.
That's exactly right. That's a really good idea. Save it for putting gas in your car so you can drive yourself around. And And in the end, what I'd probably say, and I talk about her all the time on, at some point I'll finish my series with Holly on the Claire Week stuff.
Yeah.
Really and truly go get yourself anything that woman ever wrote or said, because she's just going to lay it out there. It's flat out like, you know what? Your legs are shaking, but they're perfectly good. Now get out there and walk. And in the end, that is what she's advocating. And anybody else that has come after her, me included, we're just rehashing her stuff. But anybody that gives you a magic bullet, hey, my panic magically went away in 2 days,
yes,
just run, save your money.
Guaranteed, or your money back.
Yeah. So this one isn't going to be a half-hour marathon, I guess. It's 20 minutes of me ranting, so I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me on that. So I'm going to wrap this one up, I think, by the way I ended that paragraph, and I say this one all the time, and I try and live this way too, and I even put it in italics, like, go Drew. You have to be afraid before you can not be afraid.
Yeah.
And sorry, that's just the way it's going to have to be.
I would agree with that. If you're going to do it, if it's going to work, that's it.
Yeah.
The only way.
Yeah. And so that's the no comfortable way. You're going to have to buy into that to go further. And sorry, can't get you around it.
This is it.
But you know what?
Or you can be comfortable-ish.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, because if you're honest, nobody's comfortable with sitting at home anyway.
No, either way.
We still get these uncomfortable feelings and sensations, and so why not?
Or do you want another good way to pick? I think and I never thought about this way before, but you can either choose to be really extremely uncomfortable for 40 minutes, or you can just be generally uneasy and unhappy and uncomfortable for the rest of your life. Which one is it going to be?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
You can sit in your house if you want, but you might get uncomfortable there anyway. Even the house, I've known people who have gotten to the point where it's just the sofa is the only safe place. Even the kitchen is panic inducing. So that can happen, but more than that, when you're sitting in your house and you didn't go to the supermarket and you can't pick up your kids from school and you can't go to work, how uncomfortable is that? So ask yourself that. It's a different kind of uncomfortable. So
that's it. The only way to create positive memories is to create positive memories.
Right, exactly. You can't just wish it. We have to get out and do the work. And to me, it's just my own personal feeling, and it's really worked for me. I would rather spend 3 months being afraid and uncomfortable and working hard and kicking my own ass and then having a great life than not doing that, avoiding that, and just 2 years down the road still saying like, oh my God, when is this ever going to get better? Well, it's not, because I chose to not do the work. So those of you who hate me and Billy now, or maybe just me, I don't know, I apologize. But I think it needs to be said. It's very rarely said. And you know what? I will say this also. If you're online and you're interacting with other people on Twitter or in forums or on websites, whatever it happens to be, take this philosophy of there's no comfortable way, understanding that you have to be afraid, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable, and how about cheering each other on? So I started by ruffling feathers by saying it's not okay. So the next time somebody posts in your favorite forum that they skipped their daughter's dance recital or their son's Little League baseball game or whatever it is, and they're feeling horribly, do not respond with "it's okay." I would strongly suggest responding with okay, what are we going to learn from this, and how can we fix it? Root each other on, be cheerleaders, be supportive, be encouraging, set examples, follow leads. If I didn't watch you walk to the freaking post box, 10 years, however long ago that was, almost 10 years now, maybe I'm not standing here now. So you could not have asked for a better example of encouragement and cheerleading
exactly.
and rooting each other on and not settling for that's okay, dude, just sit inside for the next week. It's okay. No one ever said that in that little group. So there you go. Rant over. Here endeth the lesson.
That's it.
As usual, you can.
I feel that this would be the most helpful podcast yet. Video.
It's tough love. What can I say? But
truth hurts.
The truth hurts sometimes.
But I need to watch it back myself. I don't know whether people realize that I'm in the freaking boat with them.
That's true.
I need to get out there.
That's true.
But still, I'm so restricted in the way that I live. I need to take my own advice, listen to your freaking advice, and get out there.
And that's uncomfortable, I would say. The way you're living right now might be physically comfortable when you're sitting there at your desk, but is it uncomfortable?
Yeah.
There's got to be a level of discomfort with feeling restricted.
Oh, I can do anything as long as.
All right, there you go. Well, I think you're doing great the last, you've had to deal with some
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
and you're just
making
rolling with it.
progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
yeah. So, okay, we're going to wrap this one up because now we're at 25 minutes, so it is going to be a half-hour rant.
AnxietyUnited.com.
Yes, anxietyunited.com or on YouTube. There'll be links everywhere. If you have questions for me.
We'll just say, if you click the subscribe button, watch the freaking videos, man.
Very good. I never do that. I know we're supposed to say that. Please like the videos and subscribe. I never say that.
Yeah. No, I'd rather people didn't subscribe. Just watch the bloody videos.
Right.
I get more subscribers than views. It doesn't make any sense.
That's true. That's a good point.
Watch it twice. Watch this one twice.
And if there are comments and questions, throw them at us. You're going to find me at thatanxietyguy.com or youtube.com/thatanxietyguy. That is That Anxiety Guy, all one word. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. That's my website. So if you have questions or comments, bring them. We're getting great comments, and a lot of times I've been a little lax the last 2 weeks in getting back to them, but I try and answer all of them. I know Billy does too. And,
I've been busy, but yeah, I do try.
Yeah. So, and it'll help because I think in the end, I know we've said this a few times, when we get through this article, we'll probably do like a Q&A. At least one or two Q&A follow-ups.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So next time we're going to talk about finding the root of the problem, which is helpful. But we'll talk about the difference between like laying on a sofa and talking about how your mom didn't hug you enough. And which is fine. We all need hugs. But finding the root of the problem, we're going to talk about that next time and how that fits into our general strategy.
It's been good.
We're good?
Oh, yeah.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. Hey, what's up, guys? Drew here. In the 5 years that I've done the podcast, I've never had a sponsor. But now it's time for me to put in a little plug for the day job, the business that I own. And that business is Managed WordPress Hosting. So if you have a website and it runs WordPress, and you'd like WordPress hosting that makes WordPress faster, more secure, and way easier than you ever imagined it would be, then check out Helix. You can find us online at iamhelix.com. That's IAMHELIX.com. We took a long time to build Helix. I'm super proud of it. It works spectacularly. We take really good care of our customers, and I promise we would take really good care of you too. So if you're in the market for WordPress hosting that will blow your mind, check out Helix. I would appreciate the consideration. I thank you for coming by and listening, and I'll see you the next time.